what is a short sale? In this current market, we are seeing short sales. People who purchased houses a couple years ago in 2022 and only kept the house for a couple of years and did minor things to the house are seeing that they're not getting much value out of their house because the market's not going to pay more than what the house they believe is worth. So, to give you an example, I had a seller who purchased a house a couple of years ago, and that house, she did a beautiful job on the kitchen. It was gorgeous. She, however, didn't do the floors and the basement and a few other things, which is here nor there. It was still on a busy street. So there's other things that were, apparent during that. Man, we had showing after showing. It was priced right, but the people just didn't see the value of what she wanted to sell it for in this current market. That person didn't have to short sell her house, but she did have to accept a cash offer that was pretty close to $3,000 under what she paid for the house. Not a happy time for that seller, and I really felt bad for her, but what are you going to do? I told her, take it off the market, rent it for a couple of years, see what she can do. But she had to move out of the area, so every seller has their own implications, what they need to do or not to do. It's important. So, but now we're also seeing short sales that are under market value, $25,000, $30,000 under the market value. So that's what a short sale is. Short sale is you pay a certain amount to the bank. The bank says, you can't pay the money to the bank anymore because you don't have the money. You got ill. You lost your job. Things are tight right now. You go to the store and, $8 eggs. Gosh, I looked at a roast yesterday. It was like $42 for a freaking roast. My goodness. Makes you not want to eat, if you know what I mean. So the short sale in the state of Washington, they have an addendum, which is really, really good. And I'd like to kind of talk to you about some of those things on the short sale addendum. So a short sale is a transaction that depends on seller's creditors' agreement to accept less than the amount secured by the property in order to satisfy the seller's obligations at closing. Buyer and seller acknowledge that the purchase price is insufficient to cover seller's obligations at closing, and this agreement constitutes a short sale. So number 2 is short sale contingency is about 60 days. Offers from other buyers. Seller may accept offers from other buyers to purchase the property to submit to seller's creditors. The parties are advised that some creditors may require that sellers submit multiple offers in order to satisfy the seller's obligations to creditors. So this is the only time that you can actually do this, have multiple offers on a property that have been accepted, but nothing is in black and white until the bank says yes. That's the bank, they're going to tell you what they're going to do. Anyway, so the buyer acknowledges this agreement does not have priority over agreements with or offers from other buyers. Seller has limited control over which agreement seller's creditor may approve. The seller may continue to market the property at the time of the offer. Buyer is advised to inquire about other offers that seller may have already accepted. If after mutual acceptance, seller submits an offer from another buyer to seller's creditor, seller must give notice to the buyer that the fact within 2 days of each offer, notice of addendum, additional offer. Buyer may terminate this agreement within 3 days to receiving any notice of additional offer, in which case the earnest money, if deposited, shall be refunded by buyer. I don't have the earnest money deposited. I don't have inspections do anything. I don't have any timelines that are going to do anything until the buyer, the bank says, yes, it's an approved offer. Computation of time. So number 5, so I put on here that you don't deposit the earnest money, you don't do the inspections. All timelines begin at the time of the bank's approval. Closing shall be within 30 days of approval, after the notice of lender consent. If you have a cash offer, it can close a lot sooner. It can close like in 10 days, 5 days, whatever. Just depends on what the buyer needs to go through in the inspection. Implications of short sale. The parties acknowledge that this addendum does not fully explain all of the implications of a short sale. The parties are advised to seek advice of third-party professionals regarding this agreement and the consequences of this addendum. Seller acknowledges receipt of the short sale seller advisory pamphlet prepared by Washington Department of Licensing and Financial Institutions. So, and the notices 90SS shall be used in any notice required for this addendum. Okay, hope you understand what a short sale is. Just means that the seller isn't able to pay the bank back. Either market value has gone down, they've lost their job, they've become ill. It just matters. You know, I have a relative that's very ill, and this has been a very, very tough year. I've lost a lot of relatives, and you know, death is apparent. I'm not going to live that way, but, you know, life happens, okay? So short sales are very important to keep the seller out of foreclosure. Don't let the banks win. Short sell your house. Get the bank to say, I will not come after you for the money that is short. I will pay the commissions for the realtors, and I will give you some money. That's not always going to happen. But in the past, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, I got money from my clients. Didn't mean that, you know, the banks didn't fight it. But you know what? I told the banks, give them some money to walk away so they can move out. Hello. When we have foreclosures, like I have one right now, and I'm having to kick somebody out of their house, the bank's going to give them $5,000 if they, you know, but that's going to be another video. I'm getting too many things in here. Okay. Anyway, the world's a beautiful place to live. Thank you for listening to me. I'm April Moore with the McKay Group. Life is great. Bye.